Hey everybody, this is Frederick, and I'm the publisher of Saturday AM and Afternoon Saturday Plus, and we're very excited. We have got this fantastic brand that we're starting to build with our entertainment company called My Footprint Entertainment, and I wanted to do this quick chat tonight because we've been publishing now for over a year. And we've had a great opportunity to create some unique things with that. We've got exclusive series that have done tremendously well, like Apple Black, Saigami, and Bullet Eater, as well as exclusive webcomics that update on a regular basis consistently throughout the year, such as Spoon and Storybook and Rough House and some other titles. And so 2015, it started out really exciting, at the same time been really rocky because we're doing more publishing than we've ever done before. But one of the things as well that we've been able to do and had a lot of success with last year, and we're trying to pull that into this year, is development of something that we call PILOT Manga. And PILOT Manga is an opportunity for us to work with creators who are producing original stuff, who are seeking to become a part of what we currently do, and produce content that was set alongside of some of our brands like Apple Black and Bullet Eater and things like that. And PILOT Manga has been a tremendous hit. I mean, it's really been phenomenal because we've been able to work with creators who are completely new to webcomics. And so, we've talked before about how difficult webcomics are, in the sense that webcomics are, there's just an opportunity where webcomics can just be very depressing because you're by yourself, you don't have a lot of activity, interaction with people. There's really not a lucrative aspect of webcomics as of yet. And so, it's just been one of those things where it's really difficult to make it happen. But, we've created this PILOT Manga group to do two things. One is to work collaboratively with other creators so that you never felt like, you were having to prove something to other people. But you were part of a group that consisted of other people who took it seriously, who were trying to create brands, trying to create the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next Batman. And so you didn't have to feel that you were out of place there. The second aspect, the second reason we created it, is because we wanted to really try to impress upon the webcomic creators, future webcomic creators, of the opportunity to really create a brand that has real significance. And what we mean by that is that if you go to a lot of other websites, when it comes to webcomics, one of the things that you see a lot is you see people who had ideas or they had concepts, but that they really didn't have, long-term prospects to it, right? Like they, you get the sense that they created something because like they had never been told they could create something. And then when they finally create, they're like, hey, I did this. And that's great for kind of like an art project. But, a lot of times the reader would see some of these works and get really excited at the potential. And then it just kind of falls by the wayside because, again, there's no real conceit from the start that this is something that could actually be something big. And so, we wanted to try to create a group that could challenge that notion. So it wasn't a fanboy or fangirl sort of community. It wasn't something where you got into discussions about how powerful Goku is or who could beat up Hulk, Iron Man, or Superman. We didn't want to do anything like that. We also didn't want to do anything that minimized the importance of really being focused and of hard work and deadlines and things that are really important, whether you have a career in comic books in the future or you really are trying to take your webcomic creation to the next level. So this is why we created PILOT Manga. And like I said, it's been a tremendous success this first year. We've got well over 300 members. We're about to graduate 2 creators who've gone through the entire process and are about to have a comic feature regularly within Saturday AM and another feature a comic book regularly on Afternoon WebX. And so we're really excited about this, and we want to talk tonight about some of the aspects that make up PILOT Manga going forward, including a new concept we're going to be doing called subgroups, which will basically focus on targeted groups of people that really are trying to find additional support in ways that, frankly, webcomics in general just don't seem to be doing, at least that we've noticed, not doing very well. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. If you've never been a part of one of these Saturday Q&As, let me just say that normally I don't put my face on camera, but I wanted to do this because I wanted to show a few things that that we're really proud of, and then likewise, I just wanted to do something different. But if you have questions, there are multiple ways you can ask questions. You can do so via our Facebook group, which is www.facebook.com/SaturdayAM. It's all one word. We also have this PILOT Manga group I just talked about, which is a private group, and you can communicate with us there. If you wish to do that, you also need to be a member of PILOT Manga. So chances are we won't be able to, if you're not a member now, we won't be able to get your questions tonight. But we certainly hope that throughout this conversation, you're excited enough to want to join PILOT Manga, that you will do so. And finally, if you have the Google Hangouts app, if you're using Chrome browser or something of that nature, if you're using Google Chrome, you're viewing this via that Hangouts application, they have a group chat window which you can select, and I'll actually see the chats right here on the screen. So again, I'm either going to use my iPad or the group chat function there. So that's pretty much the setup here. I'll get right into it. I know we've got quite a few viewers in here. I'll get right into the PILOT Manga discussion in a minute. Let me just first say that, again, we're really excited with the stuff that we're doing. We launched in 2015, our second year of publication. So our first year with Saturday A&M, we actually published well over 20 issues, which is what we set out to do. We have a digital manga anthology, which features exclusive content you just can't find anywhere else, featuring some of the hottest webcomic creators in the world. And we literally mean that. And so we're really proud that the first year we were able to produce that much content consistently. And it's just, again, it's something that, I listen to different webcomic creators, and it's one of the things that I have yet to really hear someone, match that. We published every 2 weeks. We didn't miss a date. And like I said, we had promised to publish 20 issues. We published over 20 issues. We published 21 issues of Saturday AM. We published 2 issues of a supplemental magazine called Saturday Plus, and then we published a weekly experience with Afternoon WebX, and we did that the entire year. And again, for our first year, that was astonishing. We've hit some speed bumps in our second year because we have produced new content. We've got new strategies that we're trying to employ, and so as a result of that, we're now at issue 23, which just came out for Saturday AM. So we did miss a few weeks there for Saturday AM, but we're back on track with that. And the latest issue is now available, Saturday AM issue number 23 with the Bully Ear cover by Raymond Brown. You can get that for just $1.99, or you can subscribe, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Saturday Plus issue 5 for that one has come out. We're going to produce this year 20 issues of Saturday Plus, which is our companion publication. And the way to look at Saturday Plus is it is really the magazine for PILOT Manga. So if you are an up-and-coming manga webcomic creator and you want to go through the process of how we enter webcomic creation, you can join the PILOT Manga group, enter test flight, and then if you win test flight, you'll be given a chance to produce a pilot chapter that will be serialized like Saturday AM. I normally serialize this stuff within Saturday Plus. And if you've never seen one of our magazines, they're fantastic. They're just like a professional magazine completely. Fantastic design sense, excellent artwork, ads. It's just our house ads, but it's a really compelling product, and it's well worth $1.99 per issue, or the subscription rate of $5 a year, which gets you 20 issues of Saturday AM, or you can pay an expanded price, which is $25, and that gets you 40 issues a year. And what that means is you get all of Saturday Plus, which is 20 issues we'll produce in 2015, and you get all of Saturday AM, which will be 20 issues we produce with Saturday AM in 2015, and that's a lot of content. There's no other series that we can think of from Marvel, DC, Image, IDW, you name it. We don't see anyone who's producing that type of deal, and we certainly, I'm sure there'll be people out there who want to argue that, oh, well, their stuff is better than your stuff, and hey, some of the stuff is better than us. We're getting started in this realm, but certainly not all of it. And we're extremely proud to offer such a compelling price point for what we offer. And so if you really believe in this category of webcomics, and you really believe in digital comics and creators and things of that nature, please support us. We do other things as well, and that's one of the things I did want to show here. We do have prints. And so again, if you are a fan of Bully Eater, we have Bully Eater prints. And we'll be coming out with some brand new Bully Eater prints very, very soon. Likewise, we have Saigami prints. We'll be coming out with additional Saigami prints very, very soon. Bully Eater is from one of the co-founders of My Footprint Entertainment, Raymond Brown. And Saigami is from one of our newest management members, which is Andrea Voros out of Hungary. These are two phenomenal creators. You can see the differences in their art styles. But our biggest series, of course, is Apple Black. And while we do have prints of Apple Black and t-shirts, obviously I can't show everything this evening, but I did want to show this. If you've not had a chance yet to buy the Apple Black Volume 1, you're killing us. This is phenomenal. This is an original, the quality of which is representative of what Saturday AM is all about, from one of the hottest creators in the world, White Manga, Odunze Agogo. When I met White a little over a year ago, he was finishing up college. He had been playing with Apple Black for several years, developing it, building up a sizable relationship with people on social media. But I'm really, really happy with the fact that over the year, I built up a friendship with him. I built up, I hope, a mentorship with him. I've never seen someone who I think could become a superstar the way that White can. And I'm sure I've gotten on White's nerves because what I demand for a creator of Saturday AM is a sense of pushing what they can do and trying to strike a larger objective than just trying to personally benefit, trying to do something massive. And White really took that challenge on. He produced multiple covers for Saturday AM. He produced a lot of promotional items that you can see on the website. Again, we've got a whole raft of merchandise that'll be coming soon for White. But the biggest thing is that when I met White, he had 3 chapters of Apple Black. He was working on his 4th. And a year later, pushing and prodding a bit, he had 9 chapters. And then pushing him even further so we could launch my strategy for a collected volume of series of books, we then got Apple Black Volume 1. This thing is the definition of what I started the company for. White is a creator, if you don't know, who's from Nigeria. And yet you can look at this quality, the quality of the artwork, and you're looking at someone that if I told you he was from Toyama, Osaka, or any territory within Japan, you would absolutely believe it. If I told you he was from a wealthy province in Korea or Thailand or Indonesia, you believe it. But he's from Nigeria. He is a Black creator who's producing work that is some of the finest manga work you will find on any shelf anywhere in the world. We are so incredibly proud to have White a part, a manager, and a co-owner within My Footprint. And we're really proud of what he's produced with Apple Black. Saturday Tanks are what we call our collected version of these books. And again, if you think to yourself, okay, well, who's this Black guy and why is this whole My Footprint thing and Saturday, why is it such a big deal? Like I said, White's an amateur. I've got, damn near 20 years experience in this stuff, but all the guys who work for my company, all the guys who are a part of our group, they're amateurs. They come from all over the world, whether it's Andrea Boros from Hungary or Mariel Villarreal from Mexico. They come from all over the place, and yet we've banded together to produce a digital manga anthology that looks and feels like Shonen Jump, that features characters and creators who are as diverse as the world itself. That's what it's all about. In my time, in my career that I spent, one thing I've learned, one thing I saw over and over again was that I, as a Black male who grew up loving manga, who grew up being an exchange student in Japan when I was 15, I knew that manga and anime was far bigger than what was being shown to me. I was tired of seeing anime manga that was only the same, white-looking Japanese character. I wanted to see adventures that featured unique characters that came from different perspectives. It wasn't just a Japanese perspective, which is nothing wrong with that. But the world's a big place, and it deserves to have every single person represented. And so that's what we've created with Saturday AM. Creators from all over the world who have original ideas, not Dragon Ball or Naruto ripoff, but original ideas, who are producing serious content. This is not stuff that they're producing and then they meet a girl, they meet a guy, or they have money problems and they give up. This is people who are trying to create the next Naruto, the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next Batman, the next Avengers, and that's what our company and that's what our creators are all about. That's why we're very small. That's why we're very focused. That's why what we produce is at a level of quality that it is, because we're not interested in just publishing anybody's and everybody's stuff. We want to have a group of creators that truly are committed to the craft and truly committed to the cause. This book is currently available. You can get it on our website at www.saturday-am.com/tanks, TANKS. As you can see, this is a large book. To give you some context as to how big this book is, here's Naruto, volume 45. I can assure you all the Naruto volumes are the exact same size. Here's Apple Black. Here is Dark Horse, which is a major publisher. Here is their book, Blood Blockade Battlefront. This is a creator who's very well known around the world, Mr. Naito-san, who produced Trigun, and this is about to become an anime itself. This is Apple Black. In fact, the only thing we could find that was as big as Apple Black was Black Lagoon, and even then, you can see it's a bit different. Showing a simple reason, and again, this is just the reality of trying to produce quality material, is that this is, this is not a simple, small little publication that a lot of webcomic creators might try to do. This is high-end, excellent paper, over 200 pages, and with a trade dress, meaning that it's got design from front to back. This is not just something that we slapped a cover on or said, hey, let's reuse the cover we had before. This is completely original. You'll notice the Saturday AM logos throughout, so that you know it's an official Saturday AM product. So while there are many webcomic creators out there, some who used to do stuff with us, the only way you know it's associated with us and has all the elements of quality that we've put into it is when you see these logos. And these are all throughout. White even contributed original content inside of here, such as a character profile and some art galleries and things like that. So this is an amazing package. I was literally blown away by it, and I worked on the damn thing, and I was blown away by this, particularly when I read Blood Blockade Battlefront, because this is from a major comic publisher, and this is from a major Japanese manga creator, and I can honestly tell you, and this is, if you guys know me by now, you know that I am brutally honest, if nothing else. This was some of the silliest storytelling I've ever seen in my life, and this from a kid who's not even 25 years old yet and started working on this when he was not even 20 yet. This is excellent. This is really, truly excellent. This is a fantastic story. It's got a lot of subtext. It's got a lot of depth. The first chapter alone is better than most first chapters you read of a professional manga. This is really, really excellent stuff. This is our first Saturday Tank. Please check it for, I think it's $9.99 digital on our website. And then I think it's $11.99 or $12.99 for the version the print version of this. So there are manga that are certainly more expensive than this, but this is what we've produced, and I can tell you that next up is Saigami. So there will be the Saigami Volume 1 coming very soon, and the quality of artwork you see right here is very representative of what Andrea Boros does. If Apple Black is our #1 property on our website, and it is, Saigami is easily our *2. It is excellent. It is a mixture, in my opinion, of really awesome action shonen work like Naruto and things of that nature, but it has a very strong connection to shoujo as well. So I would probably, if I had to term it in terms of what it reminds me of, it's a lot like Inuyasha from the great Rumiko Takahashi. So this is excellent stuff, and I hope that everyone here would, if you're on this call, I hope that you have checked it out. I hope you're supporting White by buying a copy of his volume. And again, we have more material coming. We have more T-shirts, more prints that will feature work from our creators and work from some PILOT Manga individuals who maybe are not connected to us directly, but are people that we think are phenomenal creators and we want to see make money the best way that we can offer to help them make money. So, so again, a lot of excitement that that's brewing, a lot of stuff we're trying to do that we think we're really excited about, and we hope you guys will check it out. So now, with all that being said, I'm going to fire up the iPad here, and I want to talk a bit about the subgroups, and I hope that there are questions about the subgroup as it relates to build for our PILOT Manga group. So again, if you just joined us, PILOT Manga is the name that we have for our community, which is for amateur creators who want to create, who are serious about creating manga and/or webcomics, and want to have some of the best simulation of what that experience would be like if they really were trying to produce this, and likewise want to work with other creators who themselves are trying to launch major properties. This is not, you know, a group for people who just view this as a hobby. This is not a group for people who view this as something that, you know, something that maybe they tinker around with for now, and then later on they'll get serious about it down the road. This is for people who are serious about it today, whether or not they are classically trained artists or classically trained writers. The beautiful thing about webcomics and the beautiful thing about the globalization with this via the internet is that the opportunity now to take fresh ideas with real purpose and get them out there for people to be viewed is immense. And the idea that you would wait to do that because you're waiting for someone to give you ridiculous. You shouldn't have to wait. The next Batman, the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the next Avengers is here, and it's coming from one of you. And so we want to help to facilitate that process. All creators associated with My Footprint Entertainment and associated with PILOT Manga, our community of webcomic enthusiasts and amateurs, own their own work, all of them. We never get involved in trying to own your work, so that's something you never have to worry about. We've had creators who left us because they find maybe the way that we our timeline to be a bit harsh, or maybe they don't necessarily agree with our strategy, but none of them will ever say that we took their property. Under no circumstance will you ever hear that. So we hope that, again, if it's something that you're serious about, you'll check us out with PILOT Manga. If you're not viewing this on our website right now, you can get more information at www.saturday-am.com/pilot, PILOT-manga. So let's see, I am now checking to see if we have any questions, and I will jump right into explaining a bit more about what we're doing. So let's see here. So in relationship to the subgroup that we created, we've got two subgroups that we just debuted. So the PILOT Manga process, just as a background, is set up to where you essentially would join PILOT Manga. You would request to join. It's not a free, I mean, it's free, but it's not, you know, you select join and you join. We did this again, when we looked at the marketplace for communities who were trying to do things with webcomics, we saw either that they were devolving into conversations that were more fanboy, fangirl versus actual serious discussions about, you know, tools that you use to create comics and how to come up with names and how to write scripts and how you create a story that's actually going to flow. We didn't see enough of that. We saw, again, this kind of fanboy conversation. The second thing that we saw that we didn't like or concerned us was that we saw a lot of groups of people who would join these groups and rip off each other. They would literally take art, pop up on Shopify or any of these websites so that people could then, you know, try to sell cool artwork as their own. Believe it or not, that happens more frequently, and we've talked to many creators who talk about this than you know, and that's not happening with us. So we wanted to create a group that every creator who was in it, whether they were super talented or we wanted them to feel safe from being able to talk about their own passions and desires as it relates to creation, and safe in terms of being able to post their ideas without any fear that would be taken or stolen. And so those are the tenets of why we've created the PILOT Manga group the way that we have. So if you want to enter it, you have to ask to join. That's number one. Number two is once you join, there are rules that you have to follow, and the rules are pinned to the top of the timeline. This is all on Facebook, by the way. And the rules are pinned to the top of the timeline. And so we highly recommend that you read those rules first before you post. We see far too frequently people trying to post immediately because they're trying to basically group to say, hey, go check out my website or go check out my convention that's coming up. And while we certainly don't have an issue with that, we don't market our stuff inside of the group. We try to leave the group to be literally a safe zone for communication about creation of webcomics. And we don't want to do anything to offset that. So we try to prohibit those things as well. And again, we recommend everyone read the rules. But after that, in terms of how the PILOT Manga group works, it's really simple. Simply go to it, communicate, make friends. You can talk offline, you can do whatever you want, but communicate in the group. Post work on certain days, you can post your work and get real-time critiques. But beyond that, one of the biggest things that we try to focus on is that aside from being able to do that, we hope that what our creators can do, actually, because I believe in trying to do a lot of marketing here, I'm just going to keep talking, but I'm also going to do that because I know that there's people who are kind of tuning in and tuning off and all that crap. So the PILOT Manga group, aside from being able to post things in it, the other big thing that we wanted to make sure that people could do was to be able to truly submit their ideas in a way that is more representative of presenting your work in Hollywood or to a professional comic company, so on and so forth, or traditional comic perspective. We created two things. We have Test Flight, which is a monthly competition for people to be able to present their ideas in a specific context. And what I mean by that is that, people try to produce, and we use sites, frankly, where people come up with like a 50-page idea and they think it's going to be a series. They've got it planned out to chapter 2005, and they will produce like an 80-page first chapter, and they'll put all their time and effort into trying to produce this 80-page chapter and never think to themselves whether or not any of this is working, whether or not and again, if this is just a hobby, that's perfect, and that's why that stuff sits on other websites. But if this is something where you really are trying to test whether or not the idea is good and test your ability to create it, then we find that it's a lot stronger of a growth if you have specific things you have to, such as how would you market this? How would you produce the cover for it? Could you, if you had to do a scene that had the characters just talking, could you do that? Would you want to do that? How do you do an action sequence? Again, somebody who can draw a dog, and you're walking by the table and you go, oh man, that's a dog. Hey, you're really talented. Just because they can mean that they actually, and because they might want to tell a scene where two characters are punching each other through buildings, doesn't mean they actually can do that. Doesn't mean they actually want to do that. Doesn't mean they want to draw the rubble when you break a character through a wall. So we felt really strongly when we created the PILOT Manga group that the Test Flight should represent challenges to the skills and to the actual ambitions of the creator. And that is the definition of what PILOT Manga is all about. Because again, as I said many times, it's a group for serious webcomic creators. And this is not to slight the other websites, but that's why you don't just put stuff on our website, because we want the serious guys. And if you're serious, you enter Test Flight and it's going to break you. It's going to challenge you. It's going to make you really think long and hard about what you're trying to do, and then whether or not you want to do it. And so every month when we have the Test Flight and the entries come in, we then produce a show. You can go to our YouTube channel to discover that show. It's our YouTube channel. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/users/myfootprint, which is MYFUTPRINT. If you go there, you can look at any of the live winner reveal episodes that feature our examination of that month's Test Flight entry. And I can tell you that we've gotten some excellent reviews about them. They are extremely in-depth. Where we can, we show artwork, and we really get into every piece of detail about someone's submission. And many people have told us, whether or not we ever work with them afterwards, they told us that it really, really helped them learn more about the craft and learn more about their own desires to create webcomics. So we're really proud of the PILOT Manga Test Flight project. And again, if there's something that you feel strongly about, that's what you should join at PILOT Manga and try the Test Flight. The competition is rough because we got some talented guys. The second one we started is called Test Runs, and that is slightly different. So in that context, we actually will take your work, but again, it has to sit under certain guidelines. So if you said, you know what, I just want to tell a story, I don't want to worry about a scene that has, you know, romance, or a scene that's action-packed from the sky, or any of that stuff, you know, I know what I'm doing, I want to do it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but, you know, hey, if you actually are wanting to do that, then we've created a process for you to do that with Saturday AM and with our audience. You still have some rules to follow, but it's different than test flight. So in this one, we're not going to ask you about the marketing. We're not going to ask you about the name of your series. We're not going to ask you about, you know, who the demographic is. You know, we're not going to challenge your artistic sensibilities. We're just going to say, hey, produce a 15-page story that's got a beginning, a middle, and an end. So eject from your head this idea that you're telling an 80-page epic, because again, the web is full of people who couldn't even complete the first chapter, much less 2 chapters, much less keep doing this 5 months later. So these other websites are full of those guys. We're not. So from that perspective, what I would just say is that, you know, if you've got an idea, if you feel passionate about your idea, if you feel confident in your idea, then Test Run is going to be for you. We have entry dates. So we'll basically set entry dates every month. During an entry date, we will take submissions. You submit your 15-page story. That's not including cover. You can produce a cover. Your 15-page story, it can be whatever you want it to be about, within a certain reason. And again, we post the submission rules on our website, and it goes from, and again, it's got to be 15 pages. You submit it. If it fits those key criteria that we say it has to fit, then, you know, we're not going to ask any questions. We're just going to find out who you are, make sure that we're crediting you appropriately, and then we'll put it on the website in a designated spot. We'll produce some marketing for it, and we'll give it a lot of push, and it'll sit there for as long as you want it to, although it sits there at least for 30 days exclusively. So it'll have to sit on the site for 30 days exclusively so that we can really push it, and so that we can get some data out of it in terms of whether or not people liked it. But otherwise than that, you know, after that, you can do whatever you want to do with it. You can leave it up on the site and continue to get all that traffic that we generate, or you can take it off and maybe you're embarrassed about it, or maybe you want to do something else with it, and you can do that. So we're really excited about test runs. It's different than test flights, but again, to use that, you have to be a member of PILOT Manga, and you can do that by going to our website at www.saturday-am.com/pilot-manga. So the reason we're doing the call tonight is because we're kicking off 2 additional initiatives within PILOT Manga in the vein of trying to help, again, create a stronger webcomic experience, a stronger webcomic creators. And what we're doing is micro-targeting the sort of creators that we feel like are really not getting the sort of opportunities on any site, including our PILOT Manga site, that they deserve. And so we've identified 2 groups that we feel like are really missing in the process to a degree. And one is women, and the other is writers. And so we're calling these subgroups, and what's going to happen is these groups are going to meet regularly, and they're going to be able to discuss without going through test flight, without going through test run. They're going to be able to discuss and receive critiques about their work in a more controlled, authentic setting. So it's kind of like getting a test flight experience on a more frequent basis with a smaller group, targeted group of people. Now, they are different. The subgroup for women is different than the subgroup for men, for writers, sorry. And let me explain the ways in which they are different. First and foremost, number one, let's start off first with the women's group. The women's subgroup will be anchored by Andrea Voros, who again is the creator of Saigami, which will soon be a Saturday Tank. So hopefully you guys are going to support this. This is the main character here, even though she's not here. I don't know why Sean and Reggie are kind of occupying the front, but that's the main character, Yumi, and she's pretty rad, by the way. So, and the artwork is beautiful. Andrea Voros is a fantastic artist, a really, really fantastic artist, and great person too. She's going to help me run that group. And again, what the subgroup for women is meant to do is, first of all, is, you know, people ask with Saturday AM, they ask, you know, with me in particular, you know, why, you know, the group operates the way that it does, why we're focused on some things we're focused on. And really, you know, the reason is that webcomics and some of the other websites that when we got started were in existence, we felt that they catered to things that were really different than what we were trying to cater to. And so that was an issue, and that's why we created our brand. And our brand has a very specific feel. Even when you look at some of the new manga that we're going to be debuting soon, like Monster Society of America and Clock Striker, and even Islanders, which is graduating from PILOT Manga into Saturday AM, or even Comic Man, which is also graduating from PILOT Manga into Afternoon WebX. When you look at those series, they're all, you know, action-based series that really kind of strike a very kind of sensible Marvel Comics shonen sort of feel. And so, you know, we're really proud of what we've been able to create in our identity, because our series are very diverse, but yet they feel similar, the same way a Marvel comic feels similar, whether you're reading Daredevil or you're reading X-Men. You know, you kind of you still get that sense of, like, you know, the way that the characters operate and the sort of struggles the characters face, which are more pronounced, and they have more to do with actual kind of human characterizations versus megalomaniacal, you know, supervillain mumbo jumbo. And so when we look at that, that sort of style that we've been able to pioneer with our style of webcomics, we felt that same style needed to be applied to shoujo and needed to be applied to female lead characters. And probably the thing that really spearheaded this more than anything, aside from the fact that when I started the company, again, the whole goal was to get a diverse group. I was tired of not seeing African Americans or Latino Americans or Latino period or African period members of society around the world not being given a chance to create content for major companies like Marvel and DC and so on and so forth. You know, and again, I'm talking just from my perspective. When I was working in corporate America, when I would have meetings, I would see very few representation of minorities. I'm sure that's changing. In fact, I know it's changing, but you know, I started my company specifically to address that, and of course that included women. And we hear this discussion now happening in the world of Silicon Valley, which again, which you assume to be a very open-minded, you know, palatial place that's focused on progressive ideas, and yet women and minorities are poorly represented. So, having lived it myself in corporate America, I know that these sort of things, they happen, and you know. And the only way you stop it is to make it a mission to make sure you stop it. And so we started the company to make sure that we got more minorities and more women involved with storytelling and creating new concepts. With PILOT Manga, we had a lot of female. In fact, our first winner was a female named Philippa Borman out of the United Kingdom with an excellent series called Animale. But what we saw recently, we did a test flight where we said, look, you know, we keep getting these kind of Naruto-esque ideas or Final Fantasy-esque ideas, not a lot of female characters, not a lot of female, ideas that were representative of the female experience. And we wanted to get more of that. We were tired of just getting the same old sort of action sort of thing. And many of them, frankly, were not as diverse as what our lineup currently is. We did a test flight, got a rule where we said, hey, you know, we want to get characters who are either not the standard Japanese kind of motif where it's like a Caucasian character with a Japanese name, and or we didn't want to get a character that was, you know, American or Japanese. We wanted to get a character who was diverse, and that meant either, you know, gender, sexual orientation, even nationality. So I mean, you know, why can't the lead character be, you know, from Venezuela? Why can't the main character be from Russia? Why can't the main character be from the United Kingdom? You know, it's like we saw none of that. And when we put this onus within the test flight, I was really stunned that we got very low turnout. Some of that, I'm sure, is because we were going through some issues just communicating. You know, we had lost a couple of members of our staff, and we were struggling with technology to get some pieces in place to facilitate all this new stuff we were doing, like Saturday Plus and new WebX stuff. So some of it, even now, I noticed some responses on PILOT Manga are a little less enthusiastic than they normally were. And so, like I said, I get why some of that may have occurred, but I also think it occurred because, again, one of the things that you see in geek culture is you see this kind of weird conservative view of things, which is, you know, if a black character is going to play a traditionally white character in comic books, there's this big outrage, even though it does exist in other cases, right? So, you know, so that, you know, that was something that kind of concerned me, and I felt like we needed to empower the female creators in our group to feel safe, to be able to tell the stories they want to tell, to not be judged by telling the stories they want to tell. If someone wants to tell a shoujo sort of story, let them. You know, I mean, I want to read a good shoujo manga if it's good. But the problem is that, you know, we weren't even getting those entries. And so we wanted to change that conversation. And so the PILOT Manga subgroup for women is meant to address that. And we hope that, again, whether they choose to work with us when it's over or they choose to work with, you know, any of the other websites, perfectly doesn't matter to us. We just want to see more female creators who are doing the sort of stories that we want to see. We want to see them out there, because right now, you know, if you look at a lot of female creators in webcomics, and there are a lot, most of them are doing kind of gag manga and so forth, which there's nothing wrong with that. But, you know, where's the next kick-ass female superhero and, you know, Sailor Moon type thing? You know, where is that at? And so where's the next Appleseed, you know, with Doonan, you know, and stuff like that? So where are these sort of female protagonists from female creators? And I think that it's out there, it can exist, but, you know, we need to do our part in making sure that we give them a place to where they can do that. So in the Women PILOT subgroup, women must first of all join the PILOT Manga community. And once they're a member of the PILOT Manga community, then they need to contact us if they want to join the subgroup for women, and then they will be admitted to a specialized chat that we will have on a bi-weekly basis, and that will be, again, positioned to be able to critique work, talk about work, set minor kind of like contests and simulations that can help them grow as creators. And ultimately, we hope that some series will come out of that can debut within either Saturday Plus or Afternoon WebX. And so we hope that we can see, or, you know, through test run. So we hope we can see that, and we hope that we can empower female creators to do that. And so we're really excited about that. All the female creators who join that, all the female creators who join that absolutely will own their own creation. So this is, again, just like PILOT Manga, they own their own work. That's exactly what this is for. So there's no concern there. So again, this is a group that'll meet bi-weekly. It'll operate very similar to PILOT Manga, but it's going to have a specialized focus on developing female-centric, female-led properties that hopefully can become the next big series within Saturday AM or Saturday Plus or WebX through PILOT Manga. So we hope that we can really develop that. We've got so many talented female creators: Regina Cora, Shasa Stedman. We've had over the, like I said, since we started, we had Philippa Borman. Andrea Vorse is going to be anchoring this group. So this is a really exciting group. I hope that there are women out there watching this, or who will watch this in the future, who will definitely give us a shout, because as I said, you know, this is a group that was built to try to honor and promote diversity within webcomics, and we've done a damn good job of it, and we want to continue that with more females. So that is the conversation about subgroups for women. Again, if you have questions, please feel free to submit them while this chat's going on. It's going to be ending here in a little bit, but feel free to submit them. You can do so on the Facebook channel, facebook.com/SaturdayAM. Or if you're a member of our PILOT Manga group, you can submit it to PILOT Manga. Or if you are using the Google Chrome browser, then you can do it within the chat window where it says group chat. So I'm just checking right now just to make sure we don't have any additional questions there, and then I'll move on to the last subgroup that we have. Okay, and so the last subgroup that we're going to be doing, the other new thing we'll be doing, is a subgroup for writers, and the writer scenario is a little different. The writers group, again, this is a problem that we've seen throughout webcomics. Every webcomic website has this problem. When we started the group, we knew that we were running into some challenges with creators who had wanted to submit their ideas, but they weren't able to actually get their ideas in. And so, you know, we recognized that there were some challenges there to get their ideas in, or to find an artist who could help them create it. And so we wanted to we thought at first that, you know, but just by creating this big community and having people who are serious, that we'd be able to facilitate the connection between writer and artist. And in some cases we have, but it's more often the case that we've been unable to facilitate that, or that the unions have not lasted. So what we wanted to do is to address that by creating the writers group, because what was happening is that the writers were not getting, they weren't getting a chance to create a story that could actually run inside of Saturday AM or Saturday Plus or anything like that. But two, they were really being disenfranchised because they were basically being told by artists that, hey, you know, I can do what you do. And I personally have a real issue with that, because I think that's not, that first of all, it's not true. Again, in corporate America, that obviously is definitely not true. In the comic industry, that's not true. But, you know, in the world of webcomics, where anyone who can, you know, put together an image, whether it's their image or it's a stock photo or something, they can make themselves into an internet presence simply by publishing it for free on any number of sites. Again, that's not the way we operate, and we don't believe that. Like I've said before, I don't believe this political conversation that comes up occasionally about how every American should start a company or should own their own business. That's crazy. That's not true. That's ridiculous. And we've got, in fact, a scenario where our economy was wrecked almost, and the world economy was wrecked because, frankly, too many people think they can own a company or run a company, and they can't. So, I feel the same way about creativity. I think creativity is a blessing, and you know, just because you have a concept does not make you a creator. And same with writers. Just because you might have a really great idea in a chat room does not make you a writer. Sitting down and actually writing makes you a writer, and then doing the stuff you have to do makes you a writer. So I think some of the challenges with writers, and we've heard this from people who are not even associated with Saturday AM, but the challenges of writing in the world of webcomics is both a self-made one from a lot of writers who put themselves on too high a pedestal, and it's also a problem with some of the artists who believe that what they've created is awesome, and they've never really been challenged with that. And what they really need is to have someone who can actually help them sculpt a story. Maybe they can draw it great, maybe they got great characters, they got a great idea, but literally telling the story is something that they need help with. They need an actual writer. So the writer subgroup will operate differently than the women's subgroup. And the way that we're structuring this is, again, it'll be bi-weekly, and it will focus on challenging the writers in a unique way, by really challenging them with writing initiatives and things that will force them to think more in a context about the reader. And I think for all creators, it's one of the things that we see as being a big challenge with webcomics, and why so many websites are full of content that's never actually been finalized. It's because they're doing it for themselves. And again, it's one of those things that sounds pretty and it's great philosophically, but there's a real argument to be made that if you perhaps are thinking about the audience and thinking about actually telling a story that entertain people, you get further along in the process. You actually see your value because people are responding to you. And so from that perspective, we want to try to produce an environment for writers where, they're protected, they feel empowered to offer concepts and ideas, and then likewise, we want to create a channel, a throughput for that, where their ideas can actually get recognized and realized by artists. And so we've got a really unique process with that. I don't want to talk about it too much, unfortunately, on this call, because it is proprietary to what we're going to be doing. But we do have a unique way we think we can set up a writers group that will help create better writers, give writers who want to create webcomics real experience, and at the same time create a network capacity of those writers and recognition for those writers that actually enables them to get with an artist to produce an idea, or at the very least start to create those relationships that will enable them to create a webcomic of their own with an artistic partner. You know, like I said, we could easily leave this to our group and just say, hey, you know what? We know it's worked, and we know it's worked on other websites. So you know what? Just be active in the group, communicate, offer ideas, talk about your writing, and eventually some artists will look at you and go, hey, well, why don't we become friends? And maybe you guys become friends, and then maybe you'll create a manga. But we don't take that approach. We take an approach of being very focused on trying to actually deliver a result. And we think there's a way to actually deliver a result that helps create better writers, create better webcomics, and create better unions between a writer and an artist for an actual property. And so we've got a really unique way of doing that. Again, it'll meet bi-weekly. The group will consist of myself, Peter Doney, who's one of our new editors, and Will Cohen, who's one of our creative directors, and who currently writes Bully Eater with Raven Brown. So it's going to have a group of creators who write already to interact with and help to lead the group. I know we've got many writers in our group, from Daryl Bastian, who won one of our last test flights, and his manga's coming soon. But he's a writer who's phenomenal. We've got Trey Delvon Mack. We've got James, James, your last name escaped me, unfortunately, I apologize. But I know we've got a number of writers in our group, Osdi Guba, who've been looking for an outlet for them to be able to create stuff and gain experience and partner with the necessary artistic talent to help realize their ideas. And so this group, I am 1,000% confident, is going to be the thing that's going to actually be fun and be representative for those guys to actually, and women, to actually move ahead. So the differences between the writers group and the women's group is, number one, it has not been, it's not gender-based. You can be female and join this if you're a female writer. I would say, though, respectfully, that if you're a writer-artist, we really only prefer to have writers in this group. So we're gonna pretty much mandate that we only get writers and not writer-artist combinations. Number two is that the group will kind of be led by 3 people, not 1. So it'll be led by me ultimately, but again, Will and Peter will be underneath me within the group, and will be main contacts for people who are in the group to be able to communicate and facilitate things that they're working on. And last but not least is that whereas women who'll be submitting their stuff will own their works, in this group, the writers will own their work to a degree. And so again, I don't want to get into too much detail with that, but what I'll say is that there'll be challenges that we will create that will be in-house projects. And so from that perspective, the writers won't own that. But certainly the things that the writers are hoping to craft and create for themselves, that we're hoping to help them develop, those things will be owned by the writers, just like any other project with Saturday AM. So it'll be a little different in terms of the way things work, but it'll be completely transparent and above board. And there should be I don't think there'll be any issues in terms of the output of it, the outcome. I think it'll be exactly what we're hoping to have happen, exactly what the writers hope to have happen. So, but I'm really excited about both of those groups, really excited about both of those concepts for the subgroup for women and the subgroup for writers. So that in a nutshell, it's about 10:56 right now. Let me just check, see if there's any comments or questions, but that right now is exactly what we have going. So that is, that is what we have there. So let me see here. Let's see if you've got any questions. Oops. Great. All right. So let me see here. Okay. All right, so just to recap then, again, my name is Frederick Jones. I am the founder of My Footprint Entertainment and the publisher of our manga webcomic anthology, Saturday AM, our secondary manga anthology webcomic called Saturday Plus, and then our weekly webcomic line, which publishes original webcomic works on a weekly basis every single day, Monday through Friday, and that's called Afternoon WebX. You can find all of these materials, lots of free reading materials on our website at www.saturday-am.com. We are, a company. We're trying to build a company and a brand. All of our works are original. All of our works are owned by the creators. All of our works are exclusive to us. You won't find them anywhere else. Certainly not any of the new material you won't find anywhere else. And from that perspective, we certainly hope that you'll support us. You can do so in one of 3 ways. You can subscribe to our magazine, which again is a digital manga anthology. It features original exclusive creators and characters. You can subscribe for just $5 a year. That gets you 20 issues of Saturday AM. It is the best deal in comic books. I've said this often. Some people, you know, who don't like to see other webcomic people get success, hate it. I don't care. No one has yet to prove me wrong. I've been collecting comics for a very long time. I'm an old guy. I have yet to hear of any deal that's better than what we're producing. $5 for 20 issues of Saturday AM. $25 gets you 40 issues of 20 issues of Saturday AM, 20 issues of Saturday Plus. It gets you 15% off of our Saturday tanks that we produce. We'll be producing several of these this year. It also gets you a free t-shirt. Unfortunately, I don't have the t-shirt with me now, but you can find the t-shirt information on the, I believe it's on the website. It's certainly inside of Saturday Plus and Saturday AM, the latest issues that you can read either for free on the website for Saturday Plus, issue number 5, or you can read Saturday AM, issue number 23 for just $1.99 if you just want to buy the single issue. We will have the information about the t-shirt on the site soon, but it's a really cool white t-shirt. It says, live free. I know it says, live every day like it's Saturday AM, and it's got the Saturday AM logo, you know, really bright. It's pretty slick. So, so you get a free t-shirt for that $25 plus all the things I just mentioned. We have, of course, prints that we'll be doing, and again, we're going to be producing a lot more prints, but you can get Saigami, as well as Bully Eater. And don't forget, you see that beautiful Saturday AM logo right there? And of course, Apple Black. In Apple Black, we've got some prints and t-shirts coming with that soon. You can find all this on our website, but the big thing, of course, is supporting our book, our physical book line called Saturday Tanks. This is well over 200 pages. You can find here fantastic content from one of our top creators with White Manga. Sorry, it's my dog. And so this is excellent work. This is not from Japan. This is not from Korea. That creator is from Nigeria. He represents everything that we started the company for. Diverse, original creators featuring diverse, original concepts and bringing those to the masses. You can get Apple Black Volume 1 right now, digitally or physical. You can go on our website at www.saturday-am.com/tanks. And you can also pre-order the next Saturday tank we'll be doing, which is Saigami by Andrea Voros. And that will be just as handsome as this and feature some beautiful artwork by one of the top artists out of Hungary. So that's everything I've got for you guys. Again, I appreciate you guys staying in. It's not too late here, but you know, I'm getting ready for bed. I've got tax stuff to do. So I do appreciate you guys taking time to check out this conversation, and I look forward to a future chat with you guys soon. If you do have any questions, feel free to address them to us directly. But again, if nothing else, I hope that we impress upon future webcomic creators to take this craft seriously and to check us out. And if you'd like to join us, check out PILOT Manga. It's just a great community full of really, really amazing creators from all over the world. It's completely no judgment zone. It's a place where people can take the craft seriously and have a good time. So thanks again, everybody. Hope to get to see you guys on the other side. And again, continue to support Saturday AM. Thanks. Bye.